all could take that cue of our assessor over there, if we all could stand. Have a moment of silence followed by the. Thank you. All right.
Flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody, today. Thank you. Start off with public comment on agenda items only. Is there any public comment on agenda items only? Seeing none, corrections to the duplicates. Ms. Storman.
We have additions of 51,530. We have subtractions of 8,178,770. For a net change of 8,127,240.
Well, thank you. Is there a motion to accept the corrections to the duplicate?
No.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Sister Mary Sunshine. Approve the minutes of the 3/5/2025 Commissioners Meeting. Is there a motion, please? So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Proclamations and certificates. Is there a motion for Pennsylvania 4-H, Bleeding Disorder Month of March, and Casual Day on the 27th of March? Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Mr. Parker, would you please present the 4-H proclamation?
I'd be happy to. Actually, I think the president has arrived. If you'd like to come up and I'll present it to you. What's your name?
Dominica.
Dominico. And what's your specialty at 4-H?
As the president, I help run the meeting and plan, and checker.
Okay. And then do you do livestock or
I do birds and rabbits.
chickens? All right. You have a lot of chickens? Good business, right? All right. Okay, whereas 4-H is America's largest youth development organization, supporting nearly 6 million youth across the country. And whereas 4-H has helped 400 youth in Monroe County to become confident, independent, resilient, and compassionate leaders as they learn by doing. And whereas 4-H in Pennsylvania is delivered by the Penn State Cooperative Extension in rural areas, small towns, and cities in all 67 counties of the Commonwealth to more than 77,000 youth ages 5 to 18. And whereas 4-H youth in Pennsylvania are served by a network of staff members and more than 6,000 adult volunteers who engage and mentor youth in learning activities and hands-on projects, topics such as animal science, civic engagement, STEM, and health and wellness. And whereas Pennsylvania 4-H Week showcases the incredible ways that 4-H inspires kids to achieve goals, highlights the remarkable 4-H youth in Monroe County who work each day to make a positive impact on those around them. And whereas 4-H's network provides youth with opportunities for leadership, development, career exploration, problem solving, friendships, community involvement, passion, and purpose. Now, therefore, we do hereby proclaim March 17th through 23rd, 2025 as Pennsylvania 4-H Week throughout the county, and encourage our citizens to acknowledge and celebrate 4-H for its valuable service and continued efforts to empower youth with the foundation of success for a lifetime. And it's signed by Chairman Christie, myself, and Commissioner Lavin. That was to you. And
Maybe
post for a photo.
the Cali.
Thank you.
Is there anybody here from Bleeding Disorders by chance or Casual Day? No? Then what we'll do is move on if it's okay. Under new business, is there a motion to approve the personnel agenda, approve request to work additional hours in the sheriff's office, as well as the electronic transfers for vouchers payable, gross payroll, healthcare benefits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there a motion, please?
So
Second.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Travel authorization. Approve, ratify the travel request report for Conservation District, Controller, and Treasurer. Must be spring is in the air and it's conference time. Is there a motion, please? So moved.
second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Children and Youth Services. We have approve a amended adoption assistant agreement for AJ and EJ, which we always like to see family members together, and also to approve the submittal of the fourth quarter 2023-2024 Act 148 fiscal report with revisions 1, 2, and 3. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Commissioner's Office. Approve the budget adjustment report dated 3/19/2025, totaling $457,565. 95% of that total is comprised of children and youth. 59% or $270,000 to purchase services between different cost centers. Information services, 11% or $53,060 to carry over open 2024 projects. And CSBG, 25% or $113,471 for the second allocation of the 2025 grant. Also, we have approval of the use of the courthouse by PATH for the Karen Nichols Memorial Path Walk on May 4th, 2025. Acknowledge receipt of the County of Monroe Single Audit Report for the period ending 12/31/23. Ratify agreement with Engel, Hambright, and Davies for the amount of $28,250 to provide insurance and risk management services for the period of 1/1/25 through 12/31/25. Ratify professional services agreement with Eckerd Siemens LLC for FSLA wage and hour investigation. Approve Monroe County opioid settlement funds proposal application. Authorize the chief clerk to advertise the availability of federal funds for the Emergency Food Shelter National Board Program. Authorize the chief clerk to advertise the 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan Update public meeting. And add the following vendors to the county list of vendors, and the sheriff, it's Tedder Industries LLC. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. District Attorney's Office. Ratify approval for the proposal of two-way critical connection partners to assist with the installation of and integration of the 911 iNet system at the Monroe County Control Center for use by the Monroe County Constable Task Force at a cost of $1,870. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Fiscal and grants. Ratify submittal of the Court Interpreter Services Grant Application for 2024 Language Access reimbursable cost totaling $133,709.63. Ratify authorization of the grants manager, Kwanzaa Smith, to electronically submit the fiscal year 2025-2027 Victims of Crimes Act, or VOCA, application for the amount of $149,408 for the period of October 1st, 2025 through September 30th of 2026, 1 year, to be used to support personnel and employee benefits. Approve the fiscal director, Jennifer Barclay, to electronically sign the Emergency Solutions Grant, ESG, fiscal year 2025-2026 contract in the amount of $290,000 for the period January 8th of 2025 through July 31st of 2026. Approve the CSBG 2025 subrecipient contracts for the period of January 1st through December 31st of 2025 to include the second quarter allocation. Quarterly payments are being made pursuant to the state agreement, and the second quarter allocations is listed below. You'll see Shepherd's Maternity House, Family Promise of Monroe County Meals on Wheels, Pleasant Valley Ecumenical Network, Pocono Area Transitional Housing, Pocono Services for Family and Children, Resources for Human Development, Safe Monroe, Salvation Army, Housing Emergency Services, and Stroud Regional Open Space and Rec Commission for a total of $90,782 to Monroe County, and to Pike County, the Center of Development Disabilities, the Pike County Developmental Center, and the Pike County Human Center Services for $22,689. We also execute the contract for service agreement with Quantify Media for the amount of $19,750 to provide marketing services for the fiscal year 23-24 Violence Intervention and Prevention VIP Award Grant. Is there a motion for those items?
Second.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. Information services, approve the service agreement with Service Express LLC for the amount of $15,312 for the period of 4/1/2025 through 3/31/2026 for AS400 and software support. Is there a motion, please? Second, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Office of Emergency Management, accept the quote from Strausser's Nature's Helpers to in the amount of $11,095.97 for the 2025 grounds maintenance for the period of 1/1/25 through 12/30 of 26. That's the lowest of three quotes. Approve the proposal of the Spectrum Floors in the total of $12,575 for the flooring demo and installation in the fire tower at the safety center. That's the lowest of three quotes. And acknowledge receipt of the 2025 Northeast PA Counterterrorism Task Force Return on Investment Report. Please note that, no, I guess that's right.
Strausser's.
Strausser's.
1 year.
It's for 1 year. Thank you. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. Ratify acceptance under the Public Defender's Office proposal with Celebrate for the amount of $10,500 for the period of 3/19/2025 through 3/18 of 2026 for the renewal of software subscription upgrade. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second, is there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. Capital purchases. Ratify acceptance of the ratify the capital purchase report date of 3/19/2025 for a total of $3,848.93. Of that, in the correctional facility, it's for 2 AED defibrillators at a cost of $2,878, as well as capital outlay for desk for $970.93. That is for the or a safety person, for a total of $3,848.93. And approve for the capital purchase report of 3/19/2025 totaling $62,528. That $62,528 is for a compressor with control panel and water separator. That is a cascade system for the emergency management. What they do is go out and fill air bottles for fire companies at large scenes. That was a budgeted amount. Is there a motion, please? Are there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. Capital purchases, a computer. We have the report dated 3/19 of 2025 totaling $19,540. That is information technology. That's for the 911 net gateway equipment installation and annual service from the district attorney's office for $19,540. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Miscellaneous, Mr. Parker?
Well, I think it should be best for each folks. 'Cause we have more time and acknowledging. That was one thing. The other thing, we have Monroe County Founder's Day coming up on April 1st. I have some postcards at the back, so we're going to be celebrating our 189th year as a county, doing some courthouse tours and unveiling first Monroe County Keystone for the America 250 celebration. And there'll be food trucks and music, hopefully nice weather.
Excellent. Sharon?
Nothing other than after our meeting today, we having some presentations and reports, fentanyl initiative. And so we're looking forward, people would like to watch that. That would be very interesting as well.
Excellent. Don't forget, Community Night is coming up on, I think, May 6th at Northampton Community College. I'd also like to acknowledge the attendance of Dr. Tolino and Mr. Jacobson here. They are, we had an update with regard to their gun violence program that the county was able to get a grant for, and they are going out and trying to get into schools and to what their goal is that guns are safe. In other words, they're locked away. And we've had the help of Chief Parrish and, Detective Parrish. He's held a number of positions in the county and others. And I'd like to thank everybody and the district attorney for helping that move forward. Is there any public comment? Teresa? Hold on a second, we'll get to you.
So my statement actually is in addition to what you just spoke about. So March 13th, I attended the Pleasant Valley School Board meeting. And the gentleman that you just introduced, Mr. Jacobson, and actually it was Mr. Jacobson and Dr. John Tolano was at the March 13th meeting. For both. What? And
William Parrish.
Detective Wayne Parrish. On March 13th. And so I'm bringing it up here because my intention was to bring this up regardless of the Commissioner Christie stating this or not, is my intention was to make this statement. Because the grant is $695,000 plus. And initially, so it was signed the summer of 2024 for violence intervention and prevention. But the short title is Community Partnership for Gun Safety Program. So my main thoughts are two, and it was the two issues that were brought up at that meeting. And one is, I believe that the questionnaire that's given survey, the Monkeys survey that's given to the students, is that the parents should be able to read it as well and possibly give parent consent. And I say that because I was kind of taken back by some of the questions that were posed. And so I'm going to read the transcript from the meeting from the 13th. So it was 52. Please indicate if you're exposed to the following scenarios, mark yes or no. Seen someone threaten another person with a gun. Seen someone hurt another person with a gun. seen someone shooting a gun in public, heard not shooting a gun in public, being shot in public, unknown someone who killed themselves, or seen someone who tried to kill themselves with a gun. Have you ever been threatened with a gun? And so those are some of the questions that are going to be on a questionnaire that's supposedly 10 to 15 minutes long on Monkey Survey. It's supposed to be anonymous, but we know in the surveillance state that we live in that if you do anything online, it's not anonymous. So can they find out where those children belong to if for mental health reasons they feel like they need to go into the homes? Who knows? So that was my one item from that meeting. The second one was that I'd just like to bring up is that the DA's office and the sheriff's office is looking to store weapons so people can voluntarily submit their weapons to the sheriff's department for storage if they cannot store it themselves safely to keep it away from children that might be mentally unstable. And that's all I actually wanted to say.
Thank you. I can assure you that those questionnaires are anonymous. We can all have our concerns about it, but the idea is that to get the information so that we know what we're dealing with, so that we can come up with other programs to help mitigate gun violence. The thing is that a safe gun is the only gun you should have in your home. Anything else from anybody?
Yes, hello.
Sure. Online, could you please identify yourself?
Yes, this is Dale Ryan. I'm trustee of properties in Monroe County.
Go ahead.
I was calling in because I had questions for the Paradise Township and the state senator regarding the taxes that we received. I was told that it was not Paradise Township that increased the tax. It was the Monroe County that increased the tax. So I'm calling just to understand why I guess it's called the mill rate for the taxes went up. For me, it was about 28% my tax went up. So I'm trying to understand when the mill rate was discussed and voted on.
That would have been in December.
The budget would have been presented approximately November 18th at a public meeting. It was put out for review for 20 days and was adopted at the December 18th meeting.
So how would I, as a property trustee, find out, since I do not live in the area? I'm trustee of the properties. So how would I have known to comment on this change?
We follow the rules of the state of Pennsylvania on advertising, and that's what we can do.
Would you be able to let me know? I'm actually currently in Florida. I'm a Florida resident, but I'm trustee of properties in Northampton and Monroe County. So I'm not sure if you have different rules in Pennsylvania than we have here in Florida and Maryland, where I also reside. So who would be able to give me that information?
There are requirements, regarding advertisement and public inspection periods for the budget prior to approval. Those are at the end of the year. So November of every year, the budget is going to be posted for a period of time before it gets approved by the commissioners. So you might want to just mark your calendar that you take a look at the county's website around that time so that you can see what the budget is. There's not individual notice that is given to property owners in regards to budgeting, but there is public notice given, and it is always posted on the county's website.
So, since I've just become trustee, I should have known to go to the county website to understand why the variance went up due to
Right.
the.
If you go to the,
budget.
if you go to the county website, you'll see a picture of the three commissioners there, and you can click on me and find my phone number, and you can call me and I'll explain the whole thing to you.
Okay, I appreciate that. I just wanted to say I was very upset by this big increase, though it's not as much as Northampton had last year, so.
And if you want to check your school district's website, because their budget process started in January, so they all presented preliminary budgets. They're working through their processes. The school districts will present budgets in May, and they must adopt it by June 30th for your school taxes. So you may want to go onto those individual school districts' websites and see their budget presentations, as well as what the possible impact bill will be with future millage rates for the school district tax, which comes out in August.
Yes, okay, I thank you, and I'll definitely get in contact with you later. I don't want to take up any more time. However, I do want to say, as a former Pennsylvania 4-H'er 50 years or so, 60 years ago, and now as a 20-year Maryland leader, I think 4-H is an excellent program for youth, and I have many youth that I've gone through, and they really do turn out pretty good, I must say. Congratulations to you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Anything else? I just want to mention real quick too, also that the county is putting out a opioid settlement grant application for any organization that is dealing with opioid overdoses and providing services. We have a form here if somebody wants to look at it, or we can get it to you. It lays out what you can do and cannot do for it. With that, I see that we are up against the 10 o'clock hour, which is going to be the fun time for the Fight Fentanyl Project update. So if there's nothing else, yes.
Make public comment just on the community partnership for gun safety. Sheriff Cirinello. There's some rising concerns with the program. People are already calling it like a gun grabbing program. It has nothing to do with that. The sheriff's office isn't coming into your home. I don't think the DA's office is either. I don't want to speak for Mike, but it's not about that. It's about gun safety. Myself growing up in Monroe County, growing up a hunter, I learned the basic rules of gun safety. You'd be surprised how many kids nowadays don't know these things. There's a lot of adults that don't either. Big part of the program is just educating on safe practices with firearms in terms of, when you're handling one, but especially storage. So it's not, I've seen other criticism saying we're going at kids. It's for kids, but it's also for adults. This is all voluntary. You can come learn about safe storage practices, which it's an all-encompassing thing to just make gun handling safer in Monroe County. It has nothing to do with, and with the voluntary submission, completely voluntary. If someone says, hey, I own a firearm, I have mental issues, I don't feel safe around it, I just want someone to take it from me. That's it. We're not going to anybody and saying, hey, we're gonna take that now. So just wanted to put that out there. I don't know if anybody else in the program has anything else to say, but.
Well, the only thing I'll add to that, when we present it in front of the school boards, which we're doing our third one tonight in Stroudsburg, Dr. Kalino and myself, we make that very clear. We are not doing this program to take people's guns. If they do need help, they have some, mental issues and so forth, yes, we will assist. But that we make that clear. That is not what we're about.
That's why I said voluntarily.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's absolutely voluntary. If you decide that you have someone that's struggling with a mental health issue in your household, that you will come to us. More importantly, the sheriff's department, where the weapons will be stored if you ask us to store them. If you don't, we're not going to your house and knocking on your door and say, hey, by the way, we heard this is happening. We want to take your, that's not what we are about. We're all about gun ownership, but we're also all about safe gun ownership. The days of storing a weapon above the refrigerator are just out of the question, because when we have unexpected discharges and young children are getting killed and maimed and people are getting hurt, it's unacceptable. That's what the grant is about. Okay?
Yes,
Can I please ask a question about that? And I
go ahead.
said I was late. At the presentation at the Pleasant Valley School District, there was a talk about a survey in the high school.
We discussed it.
I'm sorry, I missed
That's all right.
what you discussed and
No, we just talked about it, but if you haven't,
just my question to that, is that part of the grant, will that be done in the high schools? And maybe you discussed the solution to that already, because I love the idea of gun safety, education. From a parent point of view, I want our parents involved, and I want our messaging to all parents on any topic, be parent, guardian, family involvement in anything that we're teaching. And if there's a survey that's going to happen, can the parents be a part of that survey before it happens to know what the questions are? Because my understanding is the questions are not written yet.
The questions are written, they're all nationally normed. They've been utilized before in national surveys. So when you nationally norm a question, what that means is you don't have to go through what they call institutional review board to protect human subjects, right? So that's all been taken care of. The questions are based in such a way for us to be able to get information to say, hey, wait a minute, this is an area we have to provide educational programming in. There's no way we can possibly use information and say, oh, that student reported that they saw a gun somewhere. So now we want to go back and research that student to figure out where it was seen. That's not what it's about. It's impossible to do that through SurveyMonkey. You cannot do it. So we're trying to gather information that if someone walks into a house and they know, if let's say we get a report of, I don't know, X number percentage that says that they were in a house and they saw a gun. Well, what we want to know is the further questions, which unfortunately I didn't read that night because I can't do all the questions because I'd be boring everybody at board meetings. And I understand that because I've been in the business for way too long. So I chose those questions and I've since changed the questions, not changed the content of the questions, but I'm providing different examples to different school boards now. Well, the problem is that we want to know that if you're walking into a home and you've seen a gun out, do you know what to do? Do you either walk out of the house? Do you make a decision to handle the gun appropriately because you know how to handle that weapon? We don't know those things, but our educational programming could lead us down that road to say, hey, get out if you're not comfortable around a weapon, or if you know how to handle it and you know how to unload it, you know that it's a safe weapon, then maybe you can help out in a situation. Another part of the grant has to do with Stop the Bleed. If you're in a situation where there's a shooting in a household, an accidental shooting or a shooting, can you stop the bleed? Are you trained to stop the bleed? So those are all pieces that have to come out. But please understand as well, Jake and I and Chief Parrish, as I refer to him, we started this grant later, okay? The grant was issued a number of months ago, but we only just started. So we're just trying to gear up and we're trying to play catch up. By the way, none of the school districts have approved us using the grant at this point, officially to us. We're getting some good feedback, but we can't force a school district to do what we do. Do we believe it's a great message? Absolutely. But we don't know what the school district is going to decide. So we've been to 3 school districts. Well, our third will be tonight to be at Stroudsburg, and it'll be at Pocono Mountain on April 1st. The receptions that we've had has been very, very positive. So just understand it's new to all of us. And we recognize the concerns, but the bottom line is we want to prevent unexpected discharge, and we want to help families that may be struggling with somebody in their household that's struggling with a mental health issue. And if you happen to be a gun owner that doesn't store them appropriately, that's a problem. Because then that person's going to get their hands on that weapon, and we're going to have a suicide, perhaps a suicide murder, whatever the case may be, something bad's going to happen. Those are the reasons. That's what we want to get out of the grant. I'm tired of hearing about a 12-year-old shooting another 12-year-old, or a 12-year-old shooting a 6-year-old sister because they get their hands on a weapon that's in the house that's not being stored properly. That's what we're after.
And that is the component of just making sure education is there. And that is beside that, again, I was at the meeting,
Yep.
you made some questions, now you've adjusted your questions. Goes back to the idea, education first.
And I want to be very clear, the questions that I asked you, that I posed to you folks the other night are still on the survey. We're not changing the survey. Those are important questions to gather the research and the data that we have to get out of that survey. Okay?
Is the survey public yet? Somewhat, because
It is not, because we first want to get permission from the school districts and then we will make it public. Absolutely. Okay? Thank you. I'm sorry, John, but.
Thank you.
what's an educator? Oh. Is there anything else? We are. Penn State. Thank you.